Hello, how are you?
Hey, I hope you're doing all fine. I'm here for a new video. I'm sorry I haven't filmed in a while. Just very busy with finals. I hope y'all are doing great. I hope finals and exams and stuff are over for you and that they went fine. I have a bit of a wet hair look today. My hair is wet. I came out from the shower, so I hope it doesn't look too weird and too outlandish. But anyway, today I'm back in the same background as last time to film my March and April reading wrap up. We are already the 19th of May, so honestly, I'm a bit late, but you know what? It's okay. We are not gonna acknowledge my lack of organization with filming, but I have lots of nice books to talk about, and I'm gonna get started right away. We're gonna start with March. In March, I haven't read much. I read volume 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 from Waiting for Spring, which is a manga I already mentioned in my previous wrap up, and I kept reading it throughout March. I read all of them in scan. I actually gave almost all of them 4 stars. I only gave 3 stars to volume 9 and 10. And thinking about it, I really like the series. I already mentioned what it was about in my previous video, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. It's a romance shoujo with a high school sports setting. So if you like that, it's very fun. I really enjoy reading this series. However, I feel like it drags on a bit, and the first volumes were the best ones because as it goes on and on, I kind of am losing a bit of interest. The love triangle is kind of dragging. I kind of am excited for it to wrap up and have like the girl pick the guy. I also don't really like the second lead. He's pretty annoying to me and kind of forcey, and I just don't really like him. So honestly, this manga is really fun, but the last volumes I read are kind of getting boring, and I'm excited for it to finish. I think there are like 15 volumes. I haven't read much from it since. I think I'm stopped at volume 10, so you see, I kind of lost interest. I need to get back at it and finish it because it was a fun time. Now that I'm on holidays, I might just marathon the last volume, so I'm done with the series. But honestly, yeah, what I can say of it is I really love Asakura. He's like the main lead. He's so cute, and he gave me like butterflies and stuff. I like the group of friends dynamic, and some secondary characters really shone through in some of the volumes, so I liked that. I just kind of am ready for it to be over. And I read another, this time, graphic novel, which is A Spark Within the Forge. If you don't know, these are like graphic novels that were written in the An Ember in the Ashes universe. So the first one was A Thief Among the Trees, and it follows Elias and Helene's backstory. And The Spark Within the Forge follows Laia and her brother Darren when they were younger children, before again An Ember in the Ashes. I really loved it. I give it 5 stars. These graphic novels are just amazing. If you love An Ember in the Ashes, you should really check them out. I adore the characters. I adore seeing this world that I love so much displayed on drawings. I think it's so cute. If you like An Ember in the Ashes, you should check out these graphic novels. They're really fun. And the last book I read in March was a reread actually. I started rereading a series that meant a lot to me as a teenager, and I am rereading all of the books. The next one is coming out in November, and the series is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. So this series meant a lot to me as a teenager. I discovered it when I was 15 years old, just going into high school, and I read it like in a year or two, and I was super addicted, and I really loved it. It's a middle grade series, fantasy, um, that's like following elves. It's so fun, and yeah, book 9 is coming out in November. It was supposed to be the last one, but I think the author said there was a 10th one coming up. Zero memories of the series, and I am currently reading the books in the series. So in March, I'm trying to read a book a month. So in March, I started reading the second book, which is called Exile. I skipped the first one. It's actually just right there. I skipped it because I know it like really well. I think I reread the first book 3 times because I wanted to do a full reread of the series many times. So I always started with the first one and then just gave up. So I reread the first book quite a lot. So I was like, you know what, this time I'm just gonna skip it. I went straight out to the second one, Exile. It's honestly not my favorite. I gave it 4 stars. I remembered not really liking it the first time around. It's very slow. Like the first 300 pages, nothing's happening. It's a very slow start. But then the ending is definitely really good and lots of things are happening. And I love being back in this world with these characters, and I love the main character Sophie. She's so cute, and I love one of the guys. His name is Keith. He's like love my life since I'm like 15 years old. So being back with Keith was really nice, and he does have way more importance in the second book than the first one. So I love that for him. And yeah, honestly, this was just so cute to reread and so nice, and it made me really happy. It's a really long series. As I said, there are like 8.5 books out, and there are gonna be 10 of them. So it might be scary to get into, and if you're not into middle grade, I would just say skip it, but honestly, I like it. It holds lots of nostalgia, and when I think about it, I just think about my high school years and all the happiness this series brought me, so I love it a lot. Then we come to April. In April, I read a lot because holiday, on 2 weeks holiday, and every time I'm on a break, I just read a lot. That's just how it is. So I have lots of books to talk about. The first book that I read was a book for school. Yay! It's a novel written by Émile Zola called La Bête Humaine. I'll put a book right there with the English title, but it's a classic. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was okay. It's the second novel I read by this author, and he loves to focus on like the working class in France in the 19th century. He's also considered a naturalist author, which means he like is really into very heavy descriptions that are extremely graphic. Scientific. It's really particular. The story is quite strange. It follows many characters, but mainly a man called Jacquentier, and he has this weird pulsion, like this urge to kill women, and he constantly fights this urge, and it's very hard for him. But one day he will meet this couple. They both killed someone, and there's just like stuff happening. There's like a murder mystery thingy. Honestly, I loved the beginning. Like the first 300 pages were pretty nice. It was just really intense. Lots of things were happening, and I just wanted to find out. And it was quite immersive. But then the last 200 pages kind of dragged on, and I was really bored, and I wanted it to be over. Most of the book I liked. It's not the worst classic I've ever read. It was pretty entertaining. It was a nice reflection on human nature and actually on machines and progress, and in the 19th century, like the Industrial Revolution. That was quite interesting. So honestly, I do not regret reading it. Honestly, it was okay. I liked it. So if you want to read a French classic, Émile Zola is kind of a standard in French literature. He wrote many famous works, but La Bête Humaine is not one of the most well known. But it's honestly a good one if you're interested. I read 2 other books for school. Actually, these are more short stories, novels, letters. I read for my philosophy class Lettre à Ménisée by Epicure. That's like a 8 pages letter around happiness and how to achieve it. It was pretty interesting. I actually gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really well written and modern and actual to think about, so honestly I liked it. And I also read Epictet's Manual, which is 15 pages long. This I liked a bit less, but honestly, 15 pages, what can I say? Nothing. It was for my philosophy class on happiness, and yeah, it was interesting, I guess. I liked them. I gave 4 stars. And then I read a novel called The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. I gave 4 stars. This was gifted to me by one of my dearest friends for my birthday. The Downstairs Girl is a historical fiction book that's set in Atlanta in the 1890s. and it follows a young girl called Jo. She's Chinese, but has always lived in America. She's actually Chinese American, I think. Chinese American, and she always has lived in America. And she lives with an old man who kind of raised her, and they both live downstairs someone's house illegally, but no one knows they live there. And Jo just grew up kind of hiding in this place, kind of living with the upstairs neighbors. Like, she knows they're there, but they don't know she's here, and she knows all of their lives and stuff. And the people who live upstairs are like own a publishing company and a newspaper, and they're having really like big money struggles recently. So Jo hears them and she decides to help them out because they're kind of like, she considers them family. She like grew up with them and stuff, and she decides to write a column for them, a feminist column where she would be like anonymous, to help them like gain money. And it really blows out because she's talking about like very actual issues like racism, gender issues and stuff. And next to that, there's like another storyline trying to find out stuff about her own past and who are her real parents. And she also like is working as a maid for a girl that's like horrible and stuff. Like, there are lots of storylines, and you're basically following Jo's everyday life. I liked it. It was very fun. I really want to read more historical fiction, so that was a good start. I liked the fact that it was a Chinese, like an Asian main character living in America and experiencing immigration, but like in the 19th century. Like, that's not something I read a lot about. And this book also tackled a lot the subject of like racism, white feminism, how white feminism impacts the immigrant experience and used to impact it a lot. And also there was like a lot of topics discussed, and it was really interesting. I really liked Jo's character. She was super fun and entertaining to follow, and she really had a good personality. And there was like a little romance that was kind of cute. Like, honestly, just a fun time. Not my favorite book of all time, but I just had a fun time, and I would recommend it. I also read another manga, which is Fruits Basket Volume 4. I also read a bit later in the month Volume 5. I have quite different opinions on both of these volumes. Volume 4, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I gave it 3 stars. I was extremely disappointed and bored. I thought it was super long and nothing much happened, and we were following just many different characters, storylines, and past and background stories that I did not care about. I honestly was not here for that. I'm just here for Toru and Kyo moments, and maybe some like storyline with the Soma family, like that I'm interested in. The background random characters backstory did not care about, so I was extremely bored. I'm sorry. I know the series so well loved, and I honestly like it. I just didn't vibe with volume 4. I thought it was just annoying, and I was bored, and I just wanted to finish it. So after that, I had still volume 5 in my TBR, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a go, and then I'll see. And I honestly liked volume 5 way more. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a really fun time. Not my favorite volume, but some really interesting moments, and the ending really paid off. And I feel like we are finally moving forward with the plot, because honestly, Fruits Basket's fun. Like, the plot and the romance are not really moving forward, and we are literally just like, one of the things that this series loves to do is introduce new characters that I honestly don't care about, and have very deep moments of them talking with Toru, and Toru giving them super deep, meaningful moments, talks, and like, I'm just like, okay, but do I care? Not really. I want to know what's up with the Soma family. I want to have some plot development, and if I don't have a plot, then I at least want some Kyo and Toru moments. Like, I'm only here for that. I'm not really here for the random characters to have a deep pep talk with Toru. You know? So honestly, volume 5 was fun. We had some plot developments, thankfully, but I don't know if I want to keep reading the series, and I feel bad because I have like 7 volumes or 8 volumes left. I think there are like 13 volumes or something. I don't remember. But honestly, I'm not that far from the ending, but it's just lots of money. And if I do keep reading it, I'll probably read it in scan, but I'm just so busy and I have so many things to read. And it's really not my priority. And I didn't really even vibe with the anime. I don't know, I just feel bad because this series is so well loved and I kind of get the hype, but I kind of don't. I'm sorry. We're gonna move on because I'm gonna break so many people's heart, and it's not what I want to do. And I read one of my most anticipated releases of 2022, which is All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. So All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir, I was so excited to finally read, and honestly it did not disappoint. It was a 5 stars read. So as you probably got it by now, I'm a huge And Ember in the Ashes fan. So of course when Sabaa released another book, had to read it. It's very, very different. It's a contemporary book that follows mainly two characters who live in this very small city in the deserts in California. They both come from Pakistani immigrant parents, and they both met when they were really young and bonded over shared trauma slash same origins, and they became very, very close friends. And when the book starts, they had a big fight and they are not really talking anymore. Salahuddin's mom is very sick and it's not getting better, and so maybe that will bring them back together and stuff will happen. This book made, like, I felt a very specific feeling while reading this book, and I would sum it up with one word: rage. Like, anger. I felt pure, pure anger while I was reading it. This book just makes you mad and makes you want to punch someone in the face because of the sheer injustice and violence and these characters are experiencing. Like, it's just painful to read, and it made me want to punch so many things. Like, it made me just feel very much anger, but it was so good, so well written, so emotional, so sad. Um, the characters were amazing, super well fleshed out, with like very interesting characteristics, super interesting to follow. So many interesting discussions on like religion, faith, grief, racism, what religion and faith can bring to a person, how to be an immigrant in America, in like so many things, and I felt so many emotions. It was so amazing. I would only recommend it to you. Like, honestly, just go in it without knowing too much. It it just it was so good. It was so good. Sabaa is such an amazing writer. She's so talented with words. Can make you feel so many emotions. I'm just speechless. I love it so much. I would highly recommend. Then I read another book, which is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I gave it 4 stars. This was a quite interesting book. I actually don't want to give a plot summary because I feel like this is the type of book you need to go in without knowing anything. I didn't know anything. I actually read the summary like 3 or 4 times and still couldn't get what it was about. And honestly, that's kind of the feeling you get when you're reading this book. You just don't understand. It makes no sense for the last, like, first 170 pages, you're just like in complete confusion. It just makes you feel confused. And then the last pages just make everything make sense. And then you're just like, okay, didn't see that coming. But honestly, yeah, the first 170 pages were no plot, just vibes. I just didn't get what I was reading, but I was enjoying it nonetheless. I thought it was really fun. The writing style was really fun, and I just liked following this dude doing stuff without understanding why he was doing stuff and where we were and what was the point. I just was like, you know what? I don't understand a single thing, but I'm gonna vibe anyway. And then the ending just made everything clear, and I read it super quickly. I think I read this book in a day. Like, it was super addictive and I was really into it. And I just liked it a lot. The writing style was really good. and it was just confusing, but in the best way, and I liked it a lot, and I vibed a lot with it. I was expecting a bit more because this book was super hyped by some people that I really trust, so I thought it would be like my favorite new book of all time, which it was not. Like, it was a decent 4 stars. I really enjoyed myself, but it was not like my favorite book. But it was a nice experience. If you don't like being confused in books, and not if you don't like the feeling of not knowing what you're reading and what you're reading about and stuff, I don't think you'll like it. But if you do enjoy sometimes being led on and not knowing what the fuck is happening, like, honestly, just go for it. If you're curious, just go for it. It's a really fun time, and I don't regret reading it. It's also a quite short book, so yay! And then the last book I read in the month of April was my reread of Keeper of the Lost Cities, book 3, Everblaze. I loved it so much. This is one of my favorite books in the series. I gave it 5 stars. Again, a quite slow start, but this time it didn't really bother me. I don't know why. Maybe just because I like this book so much and I like all the characters and the development and the vibes. Like, honestly, I have nothing to say about this series except that I'm just having fun. To be honest, we are now the 19th of May and I still haven't reread the 4th book. I think I'm late, but it's okay. No pressure, but honestly, I loved rereading Everblaze. It's really one of my favorites in the series. It's so fun. I love the whole gang, and yeah, I'm done. I'm sorry this was super long, and I did struggle a bit to make the words come out of my mouth, but we are now done. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel, leave a little comment. That would make me super happy. I hope you all are having a very good day, a very good night whenever you're watching this, and I wish you an amazing continuation of your day, week, month, whenever. I love you. Goodbye.